Cooper must make it 4. He does.
The full-time review show here on ABTV is supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental, and also by Craig International, who are paving the way for global sustainable procurement. With concern for the environment, they're at the front of everybody's minds. They're committed to helping their customers work more sustainably, and they're taking steps within their own business to reduce their carbon footprint. Our industry-leading EcoBuy initiative allows us to work with suppliers to ensure sustainable product options are available at all levels. This is a fundamental part of their business strategy, and Craig International are dedicated to ensuring that real progress is made. And I'm also delighted to welcome to ABTV Quipco, who are Abu Dhabi based, and they offer manufacturing and repair services to the oil and gas industry. And I would personally like to thank owner Alan Cameron for his support here on ABTV. These are the full-time scenes yesterday before a certain steward decided that he was going to make himself busy and try and stop Shayden Morris from taking a selfie. Have you ever seen anything so ridiculous in all your life? Shady Mo got our winner, and what a winner it was, on 33 minutes to ensure that the Dons came away from Dingwall with a very important victory. And the reason it was so important is because the teams in and around us, well, they won as well. So Hibs comfortably beating Rangers at Ibrox yesterday, and Dundee United winning today against Hearts. So we remain in 4th place. We remain a point behind Hibs. Next up for us, it's Rangers. These were all the headlines doing the rounds this morning. My thanks to @DonsCollector on X for sending this through to me. Lots of talk about Morris moment of magic. Hands Dons, a vital win. Hi everybody, how you doing? A very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV this Sunday night, the day after we come away from Dingwall with a very important 1-0 win. I would put it down to this. I was going to say that I thought it showed character yesterday that we came away with the win. I actually thought we were quite comfortable. I know there was a nervous moment just towards the end of the game, but overall, I always thought we looked in control yesterday, and I never ever feared that we were going to give the game away, particularly after we went 1-0 up. I thought we managed the game really, really well. Coming up very shortly, Andrew Budge and I look at our sort of defensive setup and how important our centre-backs are and how well Graham Shinney is now performing at left-back and why we think and we hope that he will continue that role for the next few games. But let's wait and see. We've also got a little bit of on this day, because it is an important day in the club's history. We'll come to that a little bit later. And of course, it's your opportunity to have your say. So come on, drop us a note via the live chat, and I'll do my best to read out your comments as we go along tonight. Match stats, first of all. By the way, the gaffer just made the one change yesterday from the Motherwell game. Shady obviously came in for Jeppe Ockels, who dropped down to the bench. It was just the one change. So here's your match stats. We enjoyed 47% of possession to their 53%. It's quite equal when you look at it here. Both had 11 shots, of both of which we had 4 on target. Touches inside the box. So Ross County had 26 touches inside our box to our 16. And this is what's also interesting. Successful final third passes. We were way down on the Motherwell game, actually. So they enjoyed the bulk of it. They had 74 to our 41. But at the end of the day, it's all about the result, and it's all about keeping our own house in order. Right, let's welcome to the show, as we always do on a Sunday night, Andrew Budge. We're looking at our defensive setup. Hi, mate. It's good to see you as always. Thanks for jumping on. Okay, so we've got a lot to look through this morning, but before we get into the graphics that you've put together for us, just give us, as always, your general thoughts on how we played yesterday.
Well, first of all, it turned out to be a massive 3 points. So, given the way the result went at Ibrox, which was unfortunate for us, but a huge 3 points. I thought we showed a lot of grit and determination to grind out a result. It's the sort of result we've maybe not been getting away from home in recent months, so that's definitely a positive. Look, it's a tough place to go. It's always going to be a bit of a war of attrition with how direct they are, which we'll come on to. But yeah, I thought we showed a lot of defensive solidity. I didn't think we looked hugely vulnerable. I would have liked us to maybe have taken the game to more in the second half, but winning the clean sheet on the road is always welcome this stage
Yeah,
of the
absolutely.
season. So yeah, a lot of positives.
Yeah, okay. So what we've done is we've put together a number of graphics today to show our sort of our defensive actions. And speaking of defensive actions, you've put something together here. So can you just explain really in simple terms what exactly are we looking at here in terms of figures?
So what we're trying to do there is it's a graph that we've taken from FOTMob and it shows the defensive sort of interactions or the defensive I guess what the involvements that defenders and midfielders have had in the game yesterday. It's always going to be a really sort of testing game up in Dingwall and how direct they play with the windy conditions. They're very direct. So you're always going to have your defenders tested. So what we wanted to get a sense of is like how involved were our defenders yesterday and how much did they have to do? So when we look at these numbers here, I think it's really interesting to look at the clearances in particular. That's really high. We're seeing, was it 12 and 13 for Canuster and Dorrington. I thought they stood up to the test really well yesterday. Ross County were really direct. One of their main game plans is hitting it long to Jordan White, who's a really good physical presence up front. He's actually, I think he's second highest in the league for aerial duels this year. He's only behind Sam Dalby for winning aerial duels per game. So he's clearly going to be an aerial threat, and we've really struggled with that in recent weeks or in recent months. How many times have we seen us being really tested by a long ball in behind or just not dealing with a long ball at source? So it was really interesting to see how well we stood up to that yesterday, which I was really pleased with. So yeah, it's really good to see our defenders making lots of clearances, really attacking the ball with a lot of commitment and purpose, which was great. Although White did have quite a lot of success in the air, it was quite interesting to see he won sort of 91% of his duels in the air yesterday. But I don't think they really got much from it. I think the way that we cleared the ball and maybe played off second balls and things like that, we were just really combative all over the pitch, and we just didn't really get unsettled by the direct style of play of Ross County on Saturday. So I really did well. We'll come on to sort of the two centre backs in a minute. Canuster and Dorrington, I thought they had a really good game, but yeah, it's the sort of game, as I said, I don't think we were defending as well in earlier in the season. So yeah, really positive.
Okay, so you've set that up nicely. Let's have a look at then Darlington and Knusters, because what we've put together here is basically their clearance map. And again, it does paint a picture in terms of our the way that we set up defensively. But what's interesting about this one in particular is that it shows that they're actually challenging for balls a little bit more of an advanced position.
Yeah, so when we're looking at those sort of raw numbers, you see 13 and 12 clearances. It does seem like quite a lot. To give that a bit of context, the highest average sort of clearances per game, if you look at average players or how many they do per game, I think it's actually Jack Sanders at St Johnstone who averages 9.7 clearances a game. So for a bit of context, having both your centre backs having 13 and 12 clearances, it shows how busy they were yesterday. And you'd often get the idea that it would have been a bit of a back to the wall performance when you're sort of relying on that many sort of defensive actions in your own half. But it was the exact opposite of that, I would say, yesterday. And to really sort of demonstrate that, we pulled up the clearance map, and which that shows is just the positions of where we were clearing the ball. And what I think is really clear from this is it wasn't really like a back to the wall performance yesterday. I thought we sat in a really good compact mid block, so we weren't really pushing really high like we might do at home, and really sort of trying to press Ross County, but we weren't sitting too far deep and really inviting pressure. I would have maybe liked us to be a little bit further forward, but I thought we did a good job of not getting sucked in too deep, and you can really see that coming out in the clearance map here. A lot of our clearances are coming from outside the box. When we are in the box, it's only really sort of penalty spotting up, nothing really in our own 6 yard box. So I thought we did really well, to be honest, to sort of defend our own box well and really try and push up and make sure we're not getting sucked in too deep. I even thought, in general, I thought even at set plays we looked really pretty strong. I think they had 8 corners and almost 30 crosses yesterday, Ross County, and we just attacked the ball so well, particularly Dorrington and Knooster, who are still early in a sort of defensive partnership. Just a really lot of positives to come from with that, and I thought they handled Jordan White really well, who can be a really tough opponent to come up against. I think it's also worth pointing out some of the numbers earlier of Palaversa and Shinnie. They came out really well. Same with Jensen and some of their sort of their tackling and dual numbers. Shinnie in particular, I thought had a really great game yesterday. Looking at some of his numbers, he had 8 clearances, which was third highest, just behind our 2 centre backs. 11 duels won, which was really great. Second only to Jordan White, who did have quite a bit of success aerially, and then 5 tackles won, 83% success rate. That was highest of everyone. So a really good game from Shinnie, and yeah, I just really liked how sort of strong and combative we were all across the pitch.
Let's just develop the chat a little bit more about Graham Shinnie. I was delighted yesterday when the team news came out to see that he was going to retain his place at left back, because I really like the Palaversa Clarkson partnership in midfield, and I'm kind of hoping this will also stay in place for our next game next weekend. But in terms of his touch map, what we're looking at here is his touch map against Ross County yesterday, and then compare it against Motherwell last week at Pittodrie. So what does it tell us?
So yeah, it's really interesting to see this, and just shows the different sort of parts of his game he's being asked of him in different sort of against different opponents. I think against Motherwell it was a lot more expansive game, whereas yesterday it was a bit more of a war of attrition. A lot more was asked of him defensively. So looking at the blue touch map there, that's his touch map against Ross County. You can see so many of them are his touches are skewed in his own half in that back sort of left position. Really not a huge amount of, I guess, further forward touches. He didn't have as much license to go forward. But I thought he did his job really well defensively. As we can see, he really didn't get into the box on many occasions. But when you compare that to in orange, the touch map he had against Motherwell, you can just see how much more license he had to go forward. I would have liked to maybe seen a little bit more of that yesterday, but I guess that's maybe just the yin and yang of being home and away. It's a really tough place to go. The conditions were difficult, so you're just looking to maybe focus on being defensively solid first. So I think it was good to see that, but I think I've really liked seeing Shinnie, as you said, at left back in recent weeks. I thought in particular against Motherwell last week he was really good, and was great again yesterday. Really liked in the touch map, for Motherwell, how many touches there he's getting in the box. It's really good to see. Hopefully more of that to come, but just really good in his advancing years. Shinnie is just still able to adapt his game so well, playing a position he's not had much experience in the past sort of 10 years, and he's kind of just came into it straight from out of nowhere. So yeah, really good to see. And as you said, I completely agree. I'd like to see more of him in that position definitely for the next couple of weeks and going into the end of the season.
Just to finish off, a little word about Shaden Morris, because it was an absolutely sensational finish yesterday. Thought he played okay, not great, okay. I was a little bit surprised to see that he was going to start ahead of Urkel. So I thought it was okay last week against Motherwell. Not great, but okay. But what a finish, what a run, and what a finish, eh?
Yeah, it's so impressive. And what Jimmy mentioned as post match was even just having the killer instinct at the end of such like a lung busting run, like going from in his own half to then have the composure to finish like that and further down the pitch. Yeah, it was a brilliant goal. Great to see. I actually thought Urkel did pretty well when he came on as well, actually. So again, it's interesting. There's still definitely a bit of competition there for the next game against Rangers. It's a hard one to pick. I think I'd probably go with Morris still, just on his recent form. But it's good to see Urkel's coming on to a game as well.
Yeah. Mate, as always, thank you so much. It's great to see you. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you after the Rangers game.
Yeah, see you then. Thanks,
Brilliant.
Alan.
Thanks, mate. Ta-da. Thank you as always, Andrews. Right, let's get the thoughts of the manager.
Yeah, it was a solid performance in a difficult game. I think the players were really stable in the defense today. It was that kind of game you need to be really consistent all the time with the second balls and the set plays and try to find a way to win the game. And we have some combination, but not so many. Also, they defend really well. But then Shaden did an amazing run and an amazing goal. So we are so happy for that goal right now.
Yeah, that's a really special goal to win the game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and have so many meters in the legs before you take that shot is incredible. So I'm so happy for him, like how he's growing as a player and also winning a lot of second balls today and to help us to win the game, but also make the extra. And he also have a great, almost an assist, a good pass into the box before I think maybe it was before the goal, no, after the goal. But he's giving us something all the time, and he's also growing into a more consistent player in the games. Yeah.
Thank you, Gaffer. I'm so sorry about the scaling of the analysis video. I've got absolutely no clue what happened there. It was absolutely fine when I checked it earlier. Right, and on this day coming up in just a moment, we've got a rather interesting little sound bite for you as well from somebody who played in a certain football match 42 years ago today. Right, let's get you guys on and see how we all are. So, where are we? Let's just take that all the way to the top. Okay, Gary Milne came on and said, a gutsy effort. Good to see. Well done, guys. Come on, you Reds, he said. Gavin Wilson said, loved the goal by Shady. Also enjoyed the Watershy look back. Yeah, I've been splashing that all over my socials today. John Grant says, hi, Dandies. 9 games unbeaten now, and hopefully we can keep it going. This league is crazy this year, and glad we're not in the scrap at the bottom. Not worried about how we win, just as long as we do. Gordon Keith Ritchie says, good evening all. Wasn't a great game, but we got a result, and once again the referee was poor, but it's about getting 3 points onwards and upwards. There were one of two utterly baffling decisions yesterday. How about that when he blocked Graham Shinney and then gave it as a drop ball to Ross County's goalkeeper? Can you figure that one out? Because for the life of me, I can't. Oy. Barry Cole says, good evening, fellow dandies. Great 3 points yesterday and very impressed how we defended. Great turnout by the fans again. Her rank was the ref and also the steward at the end. Steward at the end. What a clown. Honestly, I'm going to have my say about this. So, I know they're there to do a job. And I know and I appreciate that their job fundamentally is to look after us, the fans. To have our safety at the forefront of their thinking. I fully understand that and I fully respect that. But yesterday, I cannot understand for the life of me why the steward had to be so difficult. It's not as if he's causing a safety issue, Shady Mo, by taking a selfie. All Aberdeen fans know that this is part of the norm at full time. So everybody behaves themselves. Everybody respects what's going on. I don't understand for the life of me what he thought was going to happen. Sometimes in these situations, just a little bit of common sense would prevail. And also, just chill out. Seriously. Stop taking the fun away from the game. Because that's exactly what you did. But I get you there for our safety. But chill. Grey Pilgrim is on, wishing you all a good evening, as is David Horn, as is West Coast Dawn. Aberdad Graham Mack says, great win at a tricky venue. I'm still travelling home. Get in by 9 p.m, delays and replacement buses, but we'll do it again to follow the dandies. David Gold is on, wishing you all a good evening. Bruce Strother says, good evening, dandies. Good result and a great win yesterday. Shady Mo, excellent again. Kirsten is on, how are we doing? She says, good evening, Ali and fellow dandies. Great result yesterday, but another bad referee and steward at the end trying to stop Shady taking a selfie. Well done, Nikki Devlin, getting the whole team together. Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant. The way that the selfie was taken eventually with all of the lads behind, which Nikki orchestrated, was absolutely brilliant. And well done, Nikki, for having the foresight to see that as well. I thought it was in the end, don't get me, I love the picture with the fans. Absolutely loved it. And I always do. But I thought that one yesterday was absolutely brilliant. Get it right up you, Mr. Steward. Bruce Struthers says the defence is looking a lot more solid now. I kind of hope we pointed that out during the chat. Paul Hannon is on. How are we doing, Paul? Game was dire, ref was poor, but a win and 3 points. My nephew Scott must be a lucky charm. He has still not seen Aberdeen lose, and he's most definitely coming to the game against Rangers. Get him first in the queue, Paul. Barry Cole just reiterating the point that defensively we look excellent. Paul Donaldson is here. Wasn't 100% sure when I saw Shayden Morris was starting, but as it turned out, Yumi definitely made the right choice. Kenny Salvin says, if we don't sign Kevin Nisbet permanently, we should go for Murray from Dundee. Suze is on. How are we doing? As is Steve Williamson. How are you, fella? Owen Colley says, Canusta has been an excellent signing. Really impressed by him. John Moore says, wasn't much in it. Great goal from Shady, and their keeper made a few good saves. Defence looked good. I like Dorrington. Still think Tobers is to prove himself. Any word on his return? So he's back at training. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back in the matchday squad for Sunday's game against that lot. But let's see. West Coast Dawn says, anyone got a coupon code for the Hampden game? I don't even know what a coupon code is. Gorant Alice. I think that's how you pronounce it. How you doing? Great day yesterday. Fantastic weather. Fantastic atmosphere. Fantastic goal. Dandies. Graham Gibbs says, wonder why Ockles was dropped for yesterday's game. He has been fairly poor for weeks, but played week in, week out. Thought he had his best game last week against Motherwell. Then he gets dropped. Cameron Young says, good result yesterday. Had a great day out at Dingwall. Now we move on to Sunday against Rangers and try to get the result before the post-split games. Steve Williamson says, love your t-shirt, Ali. I'm taking my dog out to Newborough for a walk at the beach tomorrow. Oh, I took a wee walk out to the beach last week when I was home. Oh, there's nothing better than Newborough Beach. And said hello to a few seals. They popped up to say hello. Took a couple of selfies with a couple of seals. Love it. Ah, my wee village. Neil Reid says, shout out for the Orkney Dons, lads and lasses. There were 28 of them that came down from the game yesterday. That involves a ferry, a 100-mile road trip and an overnight stop at the very least. So well done to all the Orkney Dons. I hope you had a fantastic time. Delighted that you got a win as well. A lot of you are talking about how tight the league is at the moment. Paul Donaldson says, Clarkson had a really good effort just outside the box. He was unlucky not to score. It was a great effort outside of his right boot. Jerry Kennedy says, Barry doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many tickets Attendance FC sell, the Red Army will still out-sing them. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about the tickets for the semi-final. Graham Gibbs says, the next game will tell us how solid our defence is. Motherwell and Ross County are not high scorers. A must-not-lose game next Sunday. I agree. It's a massive game next Sunday. Deary me. Right. On this day. So, first and foremost, Aberdeen midfielder Antti Palaversa was born on this day back in the year 2000. To date, Antti has played 31 games for the club, scoring 2 goals. So many happy returns to you, Antti. And 42 years ago this very day. Sorry, that shouldn't be February. That, of course, should be April. I am sorry. Aberdeen beat Belgium side Waterschei 5-1 in the Cup Winners' Cup semi-final. First leg at Pittodrie. Goals from Eric Black. That beauty from Neil Simpson. 2 Mark McGee goals and a Peter Weir header. Almost guarantee the Dons' route to the final. So, while we're talking about that, 2 or 3 years ago, for my wee book, the Aberdeen European Nights, with there's still a handful of copies left, by the way, hint, hint, nod, nod, wink, wink, I spoke to a chap called Laris Goodmanson, who played for Waterschei that night, an Icelandic international, and he was the chap that scored Waterschei's goal. So what I did was I managed to track him down to his home in Reykjavik, and we spoke about that game. And I've got a little soundbite for you. And here is when he discusses his own feelings about how quickly they went 1-0 and then 2-0 down. Lars Gudmundsson.
No, it was so disappointing because, we were really prepared for the game, and we thought we were going to just have a great night. But instead, we got this goal in the first minute, and defense was always our strong part with counter-attacks. And I think we were just very surprised that so soon in the game that we were one goal behind.
Yeah, and then only a few minutes later, you go 2-0 down.
Yes,
Can you remember
yes.
what was going through your mind?
Yes, I thought simply game over.
Really?
2-0 was not usually what most of the games, we had only one or two goals in the whole 90 minutes. But that night, Aberdeen was so motivated and they were so physically aggressive. I just felt that from the beginning, we had no chance. That was just my professional feeling, Sometimes you get that feeling and you know that it will be a hard night.
Lars Gudmundsson talking to me a couple of years ago for my book, and you can see the full transcript of that interview. It's in the book, talking about the Watershire game. The only game that I missed at Pittodrie in that Cup Winners' Cup year. Couldn't get a ticket. Dad tried his best to get a ticket, just couldn't get one. We went to every single home game and we just couldn't get a ticket for the Watershire game. From what I understand, they could have sold Pittodrie out 3 times over. There was that much a demand for the tickets for that game. What a performance by Dougie Bell. Quite simply, arguably, his greatest game in an Aberdeen shirt. If you compare that to the way he played against Bayern Munich in the Olympic Stadium, that's your toss-up. Which was the better performance? Right, let's just see if there's any more comments coming in. Yeah, there's not much coming on. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll call it a night because we're just coming up to half an hour. So we shall be back on, let me think now, because the game's on Sunday. So we'll come back on Saturday night to do a full preview ahead of our game against Sevco at Pittodrie next week. An absolutely massive game. So I hope you can join me for that. So enjoy the rest of your week, and thanks for coming on. It's been brilliant as always. Do you know what I'm going to do? Do you know what I'm going to do just before I say goodbye? I'm going to do my usual. So don't forget, give us a wee like. Thanks for your comments that have come in. Delighted to see so many of you on tonight. And again, come on, don't forget to subscribe. We continue to build. We're getting bigger. I would like to think that we're getting better with all the sort of the new things that are coming in, all the new items and new graphics and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't cost anything. It's just a wee push of a button and it just notifies you when shows are coming up live. So if you have enjoyed the show tonight and you haven't subscribed yet, I'd be very grateful if you would. Right, guys, take good care of yourselves and I'll see you at the end of the week. Stand free.